It is 1992, Nairobi, Uhuru Park. A woman is standing in an open field. On one side, a row of hunger-striking mothers. On the other, armed riot police with batons and orders. She has a megaphone and the kind of calm that is more terrifying than rage. They charge anyway. They beat her to the ground, drag her by the hair across the dirt of the park she came to defend. They take her to hospital. They think they have finished her. She is discharged. She goes back to the park. She plants a tree. This is Wangari Maathai, the first African woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize, the woman who planted 51 million trees in a country that tried to silence her, the woman who proved, with soil under her fingernails and blood on her forehead, that you cannot uproot what is rooted deeply enough. She is born in 1940 in a mud-walled home in Ahitha village in Kenya's Central Highlands. No electricity, no running water, just red earth, fig trees, and a girl who notices everything. She grows up climbing the Mugumo, the sacred fig tree of the Kikuyu people, a tree her ancestors believed housed spirits, a tree that held the water table together with its roots. She does not know yet that those trees will disappear in her lifetime. She does not know yet that she will spend the rest of her life fighting to bring them back. The Mau Mau uprising tears her world apart in the 1950s. She is 10 years old, displaced, sent to a Catholic mission school for safety. And there, in the middle of colonial violence, she discovers the thing that no government will ever be able to take from her. She is exceptional. Not tolerated exceptional, the kind that makes the people responsible for limiting her deeply uncomfortable. She finishes at the top of every class. The pattern does not change. In 1960, a scholarship carries her to America. Kansas, a black Kenyan woman in the Midwest at the height of the civil rights movement. She watches a country argue about whether certain people deserve to be treated as fully human. She watches and something crystallizes. She returns to Kenya in 1966 with 2 degrees and the expectation of a promised position at the University of Nairobi. The position has been given to a man. She finds another role, less pay, different department. She takes it, but not because she is satisfied, but because she is strategic. By 1971, PhD in veterinary anatomy, first woman in East and Central Africa. By 1976, she chairs the department. By 1977, associate professor. The university that tried to slow her down is now proud to claim her name. She has noticed, but she says nothing. She is already thinking about the trees. In 1969, she marries. They build a family, 3 children, a life that looks, from the outside, like enough. But her husband finds over years that he has married a woman who will not shrink, who will not stop working when he wants the house quiet, who will not stop having opinions when opinions make him uncomfortable. He tells her she is too educated, too strong-willed, too hard to control. I want you to sit with that for a moment. A man telling the first female PhD in East Africa that she is too much. The divorce is brutal. False accusations of adultery, jail time, financial devastation. He demands she drop his surname. She adds a letter instead. Maathai becomes Maathai. She tells the press, I am my own person now. She writes in her memoir that losing daily life with her children tore at her heart. 4 words, carrying everything, and then she gets back to work. Rural women are coming to meetings and describing what is happening to their land. The rivers are drying, the firewood is gone, the soil is washing away, the children are hungry. Wangari Maathai, scientist, ecologist, woman who grew up climbing Mugumo trees, sees immediately what the connection is. The trees are gone, everything else is following. On World Environment Day, June 5th, 1977, she plants 7 trees in a Nairobi park with her own hands. This is the beginning of the Greenbelt movement. The concept is almost embarrassingly simple. Pay women to plant seedlings, the women get income, the land gets trees, the rivers get shade, the soil gets roots. What is remarkable is not the idea. The idea is obvious once you have it. What is remarkable is that no one had done it. She teaches them something that goes beyond horticulture, that the degradation of the land and the degradation of women are the same crisis, that you cannot heal one without addressing the other, that planting a tree is a political act. The government has noticed her. She is organizing rural women. She is speaking publicly about corruption. She is winning. So they come after her personally. She is evicted from her housing. Newspapers call her a mad woman, a divorcee, a bad African woman, because she will not behave like a good one. She keeps planting. When President Moi announces a 60-story skyscraper in Uhuru Park, Nairobi's green lung, complete with a 4-story statue of himself, she writes letters to every investor until they withdraw. The project collapses. The park is saved. The government calls her a threat to men and proper African womanhood. The subtlety of this accusation, you will agree, is overwhelming. In 1992, at a hunger strike for political prisoners, riot police beat her unconscious. They drag her across the grass. They put her in hospital and wait for her to stop. She is discharged. She goes back. She sits down. When the press asks if she is afraid, she says, "I am not afraid. This is not bravado. This is a woman who has decided, at some point that is very difficult to locate precisely, that fear will not be the thing that governs her." In 2002, Moi's government falls. She runs for parliament in her constituency and wins with 98% of the vote. 98, not a margin, a verdict. On October 8th, 2004, the Nobel Committee announces its Peace Prize. The winner is Wangari Maathai, first African woman, first environmentalist, first to prove with documented evidence that ecological destruction and armed conflict are the same wound. In Oslo, she says, "When we plant trees, we plant the seeds of peace and hope." By then, the Greenbelt movement has planted 51 million trees, has trained tens of thousands of women across 5 countries, has turned a simple, embarrassingly obvious idea into a continent-wide revolution. She dies in 2011 of cancer at 71, buried without a coffin, wrapped in a simple sheet, returned to the earth the way she always said things should go, without excess, without waste, with care for what comes after. She used to tell a story about a hummingbird. A forest is on fire. All the animals stand at the edge, watching, overwhelmed. The hummingbird flies to the river, takes one drop of water in its beak, carries it to the fire, back and forth. The other animals say, "You are too small. One drop cannot stop this fire." The hummingbird says, "I am doing the best I can." There is a version of this story that treats it as a lesson in humility. That is not what she meant. She meant, do not wait for permission to begin. Do not let the size of the problem convince you that your contribution is too small to matter. 51 million trees began as 7, planted by one woman in a park with her hands. She planted anyway. Every time they knocked her down, every time they called her too much, every time they took something from her and waited for her to stop, she planted anyway. This is Confident Woman. Subscribe and come back next week. Their courage is your inheritance. Come and collect it.